Now, one of the questions a lot of people have when they or someone they love and care about has been arrested is, gosh, I haven't heard from my legal team in 2 weeks. What should I do? Or sometimes people will say, I'm willing to do some of the legwork. And I'm like, no, whatever you do, don't do the legwork. Stay away, because you don't know Florida criminal law. It's like a minefield. And you just don't go running through a minefield unless you want to blow your life up. And so instead, what should you do? What you should do, and this is very hard for people to understand, is you should master your own personal psychology, and this is critical. And I'm going to give you one example that's going to bring this home. I have a colleague of mine who has had access to our materials, Coping with Stress, during criminal prosecution for over 20 years. He has had access to it. That's how long I've had it. And sure enough, he doesn't use it. Why? He has practice managers. And what do practice managers say? Bring people into the office when they're stressed. It's a great time to find out if you can sell them additional legal services, or you can do an upsell on what you're already doing. And if you do that a lot and act like they're, your best friend, and make sure you gather their birth date and their children's birth date and send cards and sign them all on signing day, and then have it calendared and your staff sends them, they'll love you, they'll give you referrals, and I'm the guy in the room going, wait a minute, that's number one, manipulative, and number two, that's exactly the wrong thing to do. And this is how I know it, because my colleague had a client where he was charged with child pornography. And this guy was not some major sex offender, he was just curious. And who is the world's largest purveyor of child pornography in the world? The United States government. You would think they would want to keep this away from people. Instead, they flood the internet with it and claim they're solving crime. Not so sure I buy that. But be that as it may, he had multiple counts and he was looking at a prison sentence. And my colleague did an outstanding job. Got him 4 years of probation. He would be found guilty. He would have sex offender designation, but would not serve a day in jail on a charge that normally, the plea bargaining is about how much prison, not whether there is prison, and this guy was not going to have any. Well, he went to court, and the judge had to do a conversation with the defendant before accepting a felony plea. You have a written plea agreement, then you have an oral communication, and that is called a plea colloquy. And it's questions like, do you understand what this says? Did you sign this document? Have you had any drugs or alcohol in the last 24 hours that affect your decision making? Are you satisfied with the advice and services given to you by your lawyer? And this guy said, well, he could have tried harder. Now, I'm in the courtroom and I'm looking at Judge Stone, and Judge Stone has, a stone face, just like his name. And I could see his eyes wiggle just a little bit, and that meant he was looking in every part of his brain to find a way to take this change of plea from not guilty to no contest so that he would not have to call a jury the following Monday. This was Thursday. If every case goes away at the end of Thursday, no juries for Monday. If some cases stay and they left set for trial, you call in jury panels depending upon how many cases. That determines your number of people that are going to be on the venire panel. Well, sure enough, the judge decided he couldn't take the plea. So he said to my colleague, I cannot accept this. We remain set for trial on Monday. And then with a question mark in his voice, he looks over at the prosecutor and he goes, state. And she stood up with a smile, like she always does, and she goes, yes, Your Honor, the state will be ready. Now here's what she didn't say. My entire family is coming into town this weekend. My husband's entire family is coming into town this weekend. We're scheduled to do a marathon, and actually it's a triathlon, and at different points in the race, we were going to have family members throw towels at us when we get out of the water. We were going to have them hand gel packs to us at a different point, and water or sports liquid at different points, because the triathlon has different events. But I can't do any of that now because I have a trial on Monday, which means with my whole family in and his whole family in, I'm working on a pop-up trial that should have been a plea in a case I gave the store away on. Now, she didn't say anything of that. All she said was, yes, Your Honor, the state will be ready. So Monday comes along, and sure enough, Guess what happens? The guy successfully enters his plea of no contest. So far, so good. 4 years of probation, right? No. Instead, what happened is the prosecutor promptly added back 26 counts and the guy was sentenced to 35 years in prison. Now, why did he get 35 years in prison? Was it because he deserved 35 years in prison as opposed to 4 years of probation the previous Thursday? No. It's because he did not cope with stress during criminal prosecution effectively, and he did not use a systemized method that actually works. And as a result, he blew up his life. And we don't want to have that happen to you. And in the next video, I'm going to tell you exactly how to use coping with stress during criminal prosecution so that you have the highest degree of likelihood of success in your case, whether it's a trial, a motion hearing, or plea bargaining.